Hello everyone, Glenda Mollet here, and I'm in my craft room today. We're going to stamp a card together using the Best Catch bundle. This bundle is available in bundle pricing until May the 3rd, 2019, and then the pieces will still be available in the new catalog, but they won't be bundled anymore. So the bundle consists of the Best Catch stamp set and the dies that coordinate with it. And I've got a couple of them out already because we're going to be using those ones. So there's the bundle. So we're going to be using some of the dies. We're also going to be using a die from the Stitch Rectangle dies. The Happy Birthday comes from Amazing Life, and it's only available till the 3rd of June. And the background trees are lovely as a tree. My very first stamp set, see, number 01. I bought this one way back. I believe it was in 2008. So it's 11 years ago. And it says copyright 2001, so that's when it was born. And they're retiring it this year, so this stamp set is 18 years old. The longest reigning stamp set in Stampin' Up! History. So this is a Glenda Mollet original card. Here's the recipe for you. There's the list of the inks, and we have to use StazOn because we're going to be watercoloring the fish. And there we go. The one thing I forgot to get out that I got to get out is the Pool Party Blends. The light Pool Party Blends. I forgot to get that out just to color the water underneath where the fisher dude is standing. So the fish is on watercolor paper and the bulrushes are on watercolor paper, and then we're going to watercolor them with an acrylic pen and the ink that's on the lid of the ink pad. So I'm just making room here to get everything going. I've already stamped the fish in StazOn. So we'll go ahead and get started watercoloring it. So it's going to be watercolored in Mossy Meadow, Poppy Parade, and Daffodil Delight. And most of it is Mossy Meadow. So to get ink on the lid like that, you keep it closed and go up near the opening end and just squish it really hard between your hands like that. And you'll get some ink on it. If you're part of the club, there's the May host code. I'll just give you a second to pause the video so you can write it down before I cover it up. And an aqua painter. So these are like paintbrushes, but they have water in them. And you just squish a bit of water onto the lid of the ink pad and pick up some of the color with your brush. And you can go over this first and make it wet if you want. There's a couple of different ways to watercolor. I tend to not waste the time. It's not a waste of time. It's just that I'm always so anxious to hit the road and start coloring that I don't take the time to wet the area that I'm coloring first. But you can do it. You can do watercoloring just the same. So I'm leaving some open areas in his fins. Just clean off my aqua painter there. And now we're going to use some Daffodil Delight. Now this is one of the old pads. It's a little bit easier to get ink in the lid, but you're going to use it the same way. Some water on it. And then just color. And by going over top of the green, you're reactivating the green, so then they'll blend in together. And this just gives some yellow highlights to the fish. And a little bit on that one. And then I'm going to do just a little bit of yellow in other areas just to brighten them up a bit. So there's the Daffodil Delight. Now Poppy Parade. Get a little bit of ink on the lid. Clean my brush off. And you can see that the paper is still wet, so when I put the red on, it's actually flowing like watercolor should. And put a little bit down here on his tail. Now I'm going to clean it, and I'm going to go back in with a clean brush and just kind of go over top and get them to... Oh, I forgot to do his belly. Hello. So I need my Daffodil Delight back again. Over top of his belly. Make it nice and wet. Go over top of the green edges so that you reactivate it. So it can blend nice. Take the yellow off. Pick up a bit of the red. Now I'll go back in with my clean aqua painter and just go over top. And I forgot to do his eye too. And as you can see, you can go back and play with it as much as you want. Because this is watercolor paper and this is what it's meant to do. So it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt the paper to do it over and over and over. There we are. Oh, I should have cut out the bulrushes first, and I didn't do that. I have to let the fish dry before I cut it out. So while I'm letting that dry, where did I put my pieces? I'm going to stamp the Fisher Dude, and this is Early Espresso. And there's a die for this as well. And when you stamp this, it's going to look a little funny because he's kind of got a pattern on him. He's not solid. And I thought I had done something wrong the first time, but I didn't. And the Happy Birthday, it's also in Early Espresso. I'm just going to put it in the middle of that piece. There we go. And now while I've got the brown open, the Early Espresso open, I'm going to do the inside piece and the envelope. And first I'm going to stamp the Creole. And on the envelope. And then the hat. And I'm just going to kind of lean it up against the Creole there. There we are. Okay, what else do we need to do? Oh, all right. So this is the piece I need for the Lovely as a Tree image. And you do have to stamp it twice because it's not quite wide enough to go all the way across. I'm just going to ink it up. And I'm stamping this in soft seafoam. When I first got this stamp set, it was on wood. After I mounted it, I decided I didn't like the wood. So I took it off wood and put it on some cling foam when stamping up. I used to sell the cling foam. But of course I didn't have the labels to put on the back of it. So kind of doing a by guess and by gosh. So I'm just lining up that little pointy thing there with the landscape, and see, it lines up really good. Okay. I'm still letting my fish dry. I'm going to take Pool Party and my sponge brayer. That's out of the way. So I'm going to do the water now. Ink up my brayer, and remember, don't ink up this way, you always ink up that way. Start off the paper. And I'm just kind of doing where up to where the grass marks are for the... I'm having a little bit of issue with my brayer. And the more you do it, the darker your water will be. There we are. Doesn't take too long to whip it up. Get that stuff out of the way. Now we can do some building. And get my tear and tape on. So we were just having lunch, and BCTV has released a whole bunch of, they call them throwback shows. So we were watching Bewitched. It's kind of weird to see it in color, because back in the day it was black and white. But those old shows are really kind of cool. I like Endora, the mother, Samantha's mother. She's pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to layer it onto a piece of Mossy Meadow. And pull off the rabbit ears. There we are. Those in the garbage. Put some tear and tape on the back of the Mossy Meadow so we can put it right onto the thick, very vanilla cardstock. This card doesn't use Whisper White like I normally do. I chose to tone it down a bit with the very vanilla. Well, my liners are coming off a bit easier for this video than they did earlier today. There we are. Now my base. Get it lined up where I want want it. Oops. Guess I was lucky last time the ears didn't rip. But this one, not so much. Now I need my paper piercer so I can get in there and get that piece of liner. You probably can't see what I'm doing because I have to watch. I had to watch what I was doing because I can't see when I'm... There we are. Okay, come on. There we are. Okay, so that's that done. And we might as well put the inside in while we're at it. Give that fish a little bit more time to dry. It's just about there. It's still a bit damp, but that's okay. I can still cut it when it's damp. It's just that I didn't want it to be dripping. You can also hit it with the heat gun too if you want. Dry it out faster. Oh yeah, I had to speak too soon about these tails. Because apparently some of them are being a little stubborn here. Oh well. There we are. And the inside. Line it up. There we are. All right, time to do some die cutting. Okay. Get my magnetic platform. And remember to just touch it in the middle to see if it needs to be flipped over. You get a little bit longer out of your plates if you do that. Hey, the fish. And there's the die for the fish. Now when you're watercoloring, you have to let go the fact that sometimes it goes outside the lines, because that's just the nature of it. Get a little piece of washi tape so it doesn't move. It's about time to get a new container of washi tape. There we are. And that. Now, move that out of the way, and I'm going to line up the happy birthday. I only want to do one run through the big shot. And this, I like to turn it a bit so it doesn't hit on a flat side. I'm going to have to use another piece of washi tape, because otherwise this is not going to stay where I want it. There we are. And I'm just attaching it really good to the part that I'm not going to be using, the cut off part. And then we have the fisherman. Get him all lined up. Stick a piece of tape on him as well. There. Now they won't move. So I'm just going to run this over to the big shot and run it through, and I will be right back. It doesn't take too long to run this stuff through, but I just don't like to do it on my table, because then sometimes it makes people seasick when I do that. There we are. All right, there's our pieces. There's the happy birthday. take off the washi tape because sometimes it tends to stick. And here's the bulrushes and my paper piercer to poke it out. And the fish. And the fisherman. There we are. Okay, let's finish off this. I have to do a little bit of watercoloring on the bulrushes. It doesn't take long to do them. Get my scrap paper here because the could have probably done this before I cut it out, but it's all right. This works. So for the first little bit, what I do is I make it a nice runny amount, and I just do a wash over top of it. Just quickly give it a wash. Make the watercolor paper wet. Just like that. And I'm not worrying about these puddles because then I'm going to go back in with the ink and kind of give it some texture. And then I want there to be puddles because you don't want it to be flat. You want to have some texture by just adding a little bit of there. Now I'm just going to leave that open. I'm going to let that dry a bit. I need to do the bulrushes, and they're done in early espresso. Oops, I closed it. So just a little bit of early espresso on for the bulrushes. Just quickly. Doesn't take too long. Now, my bulrushes have started to dry, so I'm going to get some more ink on the lid because I want some dark on there now. And then if you don't like them to be solid like that, just go back over with the pen and wash it out a bit. At some point you have to say enough's enough and just let it, just go for it. It does dry a bit different than what it looks. So I'm just going to put that here because I'll put that on at the very last. I'm going to put my brush away before I get it. Now where's my fisherman? And remember I got the light Pool Party blends out just so I can color the water around him. You could shade this if you want, but I don't think it would show very much because he's shaded anyways. Okay, so here's the card. This is what we're doing. The fisherman is flat on the card, but it's really difficult to get the fishing line because it's so fine. So I'm just going to do some little teeny tiny itty bitty dots of Tombow. There. Now I'm going to let that dry. But I can't put the fish on yet until he's on. But I wanted to show you that the die actually cuts out the two top fins. So you can like double dimensional them. so that they stick up a bit if you want. Put some dimensionals on here, and one on this fin, and then I'm going to take the liner off of that, and I'm going to put another one on top. And then, because that fin is so small, it's going to get out the one I started to cut around the edge. And I'm just going to cut off a piece and another piece. And pull that liner off. Now this one, I don't want the whole thing. I just want, oops, that went flying, the top edge to be doubled. So there we are. And these, the bulrushes, need dimensionals on them as well. Now I've used cut pieces of the dimensional to put on the various spots on there, but they have to be really thin. Can't be too fat or it's not going to work, because it will show on the other, oh, got my big finger on that. It will show on the backs when you put it on. It will show when it's not a good thing. Okay, one on that one, and get this one that went flying and put it right up here at the edge of that one. And whoops. Put that there. And then one more piece. And I'm going to cut it in half and put it on those two. Sometimes it pays just to take a little bit of time and do these little pieces so they don't hide. Now I'm going to push it over and make sure that it's all, yeah, that's good. Okay, time to build. Take the fisherman. I put a little piece of tape on him, so I'm just going to pull the liner off of that. And I want him right, where's my, these are going to go here, so I don't want to cover him up completely. I want him to be right there. And now take the liners off the fish. I like how the fish is disproportionately bigger than the fisherman is, because then you can make the fish the center of the card. And I'm going to hang him over the edge just a bit, but not too far, because you want to be able to get it into the envelope. But see, by double dimensionaling the two fins, they're sticking up a little bit higher than the rest of them is. And take the liners off the bulrushes. This might take a little time because there's a lot of little pieces on him. And just about there. In between videos today, I went outside and it's absolutely gorgeous out there. Got laundry on the line, so I'm overlapping those over the mossy meadow piece and overlapping them at the bottom. There we are. My happy birthday, which almost disappeared on me. Some dimensionals on that. There you go. Now once this fish dries completely, it will be a bit lighter, but I think I got him a little bit darker than the original one, and I really like both of them. Oops, not upside down. This goes up there in the corner like that. And there's the envelope. So there's the 2 cards. The original one and the one we created today. Thanks so much for joining me in my craft room today. I love stamping with you. I'm hoping that you are having a wonderful day as well. Don't forget, if you want to save 10% on the Best Catch bundle, it's only until May the 3rd, or June the 3rd, sorry. And June the 4th, when the new catalog goes live, this bundle will be in there, but individually you won't be able to save the 10% on it anymore. Thanks so much for joining me. Stamping smiles, and I hope to see you soon in my craft room. Bye for now.